Okay, we're back with the second half of the Dick B discussion, the email that he had sent me dealing with the subject of a former addict, an addict's plea for Christian help for our brothers and sisters. The need for Christians to help today, secular approaches, those involving the removal of the Bible, the Creator, and Jesus Christ, are ascending in popularity as fast as those approaches are declining in results. Universalism, the idea that there ought to be one tent, one assembly, one fellowship, one church, one religion for all mankind, has made its mark in the new 12-step approaches. When proponents of the Universal Recovery Society tell the newcomer that he can believe in something or somebody or nothing at all, they are mainly offering atheism and unbelief in a society founded on the necessity for coming to believe. Spirituality, a code name for illusory goodness and works, may produce smiling faces but doesn't cure addicts. And that's what we want. We want the cure. We want it right from the physician himself. Christians within and without AA frequently shun or abandon 12-step programs due to intimidation, misunderstanding, and fear. They surrender to the power of nothingness and their illusion that AA stands for false religion and phony gods arises out of a tremendous ignorance of its history, a failure to believe that the power of God is just as available within AA as without, and the lack of accurate information about the success results in the early AA Christian fellowship when reliance on the Creator was the core of the cure, and still is. So, I guess what he's asking is, what his goal is in his plea is he's saying he got well in AA, he got well in AA, not outside of it. Despite of all the nonsensical higher power chalk talk that abounds in the fellowship chatter, I discerned that God and the Bible had a vital role in the organization's beginnings, particularly in the unique successes. To be sure, AAs themselves have provided me and countless thousands with love, service, understanding, and support which are unequaled elsewhere, but far more is needed for recovery and cure. The alcoholic has dug a hole so deep, as co-founder Reverend Sam Shoemaker wrote, a divine derrick is needed to pull him out. And once I turned to the Bible, to God, and to Jesus for answers, and that's Jesus Christ for answers, just as the early AAs did, I won the battle, or the battle was won on my behalf. I have never since day number one needed, wanted, or sought liquor or any other mind-damaging stuff for my answers. If Christian churches, clergy, leaders, ministries, and programs would steep themselves in the early AA Christian fellowship history, its roots in the Bible, and its astonishing successes in the 1930s, and join us in the disseminating those facts, a completely new face can shine again. AA's once vital divine aid, as Bill Wilson called it, can be restored to dignity and honor and healing, and perhaps either replace or contrast with the wild new efforts and approaches that are failing so miserably today. If Christians get behind the effort to provide information, the good news, and you will, alcoholics and addicts today can still go to all the doctors and detoxes and hospitals, the rehabs, the jails, therapists, the recovery books, and the mental wards they like. In fact, most of us have done just that. But we lacked exposure to the history, details, principles, and practices of our own successful roots. They succumbed to secular influences, and today there is compelling evidence that Christians in and out of recovery fellowships and programs need to put on the whole armor of God to defeat the illusory snake oil scholasticisms, I think that's what it says, that is dominating the problem. Christians need to help us carry the message that it was God in early AA, and it can be God in today's program. God can and will do for the alcoholics and addicts what neither they nor any human power can do for themselves. It's true. Submit to the will of God. Humble yourself. Get on your knees and realize that you are that dandelion seed in the wind, and you better get used to it and allow the guy who controls the wind to control, not, for lack of better terms, control your life or control your thoughts and say, what would God have me do in this situation? And Jesus is the way. There are others or other ways which seem right to men, but to ignore the good news in the Christian message does little to make man's way right in our Creator's eyes or ensure the validity of man's experiential research or warrant to the sick alcoholic and addict that man's ways are superior to God's ways and will triumph through today's secular approaches alone. For Dr. Bob and for many, an AA pioneer, our Creator was as much a part of medicine and surgery as the scalpel and the stethoscope. Signed, respectfully, Dick B. And you can read further about Dick B's stuff at dickb.com or www.dickb.com/index.shtml. And that will get you to all of his resources and all of his vast knowledge of the history of AA and what works and what doesn't work. I'll tell you, from 16 years experience, it certainly sounds familiar to me. So I ask you, take a look. That's all. Take a look. And that's going to be our show. Thank you again for Dick B for sending that. And I hope that your message gets out there, and I hope that we can return to the roots of success. And that is on your knees, relying on your higher power, and doing what he says you should do, or doing the best you can to do that. Because nobody can do it all, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. So let God work in your life, and you'll have many successful days sober. I guarantee it. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.